Okay, folks, let's try again. It says that the stream is healthy, so we'll see if that's going to last or not. But if we're good, if you can hear me fine, see the picture fine, then let's proceed. I'm looking at the SPY still, the 5 minutes chart, so just let me know. Hopefully this is going to be a better stream here. It says the signal is pretty good. Okay. Okay, still lagging. Still lagging. Let's try to stop recording. Okay. Okay, folks, try to play with it a little bit. Let's see if that works. If not, then we got to do something different. Okay, Stone, you say no sound at all. Okay, let's talk a little bit here and see if you guys can get the signal or not. It still says that we have a poor signal for some reason. I got the bit rate fixed. I got everything as YouTube suggests, but something is going on here. Could be a YouTube issue, could be my own connection issues, but if we look at the SPY right now, again, we have the lower high. We're looking for now a failure that could happen here and produce another leg down. So we can revisit the lows here. Let's say at the end of the week, you want to maintain a trade below 630 to keep that bearish perspective alive. And that's going to depend on the video, of course, also doing a sort of a lower high right here. So let's see if you guys can hear all of that. Okay, seems to be good now. Okay, let's hope that it's going to stay good. I'm still seeing a problem here in the stream status, but maybe it's fixed. But this is what we're looking for here, folks. The video stops here. Let's say it got a rebound in 5 minutes, got a little oversold. Fix that. If it begins to go down and crack below the lows right here, then we're probably going to head down to the 173, 174 target. And if that is the case, the SPY is probably going to begin to lose some steam and break the lows. So that's what you need to look out to confirm your bearish positioning is you need to see a failure right here and then a move to the downside for this session. I would say if we close below the lows right here, that's going to be a win for the bears. And it's probably going to show confirmation in the E-mini futures too. Palantir still holding. Apple not doing much. Apple a little bit of move forward here, but those fade at the end of the session. Microsoft, 5 minutes doing nothing. Tesla, Meta. Okay, so we're not seeing a lot of updates. We're going to keep it at the SPY. So long as you can hear me fine, we're just going to take your questions now. Okay, Jeff, let's go back to the Robinhood trade. So we looked at the Robinhood trade. You still got a chance of that working out because you look at the daily chart. You got the report, you have a flush, and then you got back up. And you have, most importantly, as we say repeatedly in this program, when you have a bearish momentum playing out in the MACD, bearish correction playing out in the RSI, and the chart is consolidating, that's probably going to lead to a bullish outcome, meaning another move higher. So I would say the 115, if you have the expiration date of the August 15th, you got plenty of time that it could work out. Maybe you need to average down at some point once we pass 110. If you have 115 calls for this week, that's a little bit of a long shot. Probably not going to happen. Most likely not going to happen. So if you still see it happening, you probably want to go with the 110, 115. So this is what I would do. If I still see upside for Robinhood, I'm probably going to go with the 110 and then sell the 115. And that way I have 133 with a max profit of 360. That's a pretty good risk versus reward. Now, if you have the 8 and you have the expiration date of Friday and you have the 115, you still got about 40, 35 cents. I'd rather take that and play the 15th at the 110, 115, and that's going to knock my entry cost down to about $1 or 95 cents. So I think that's the only way to keep the trade alive, depending on the circumstance that you got. SPY, let's go back to the 5 minutes, see if we got a failure. Yep, we got a failure. A little bit of a failure showing up here, probably because of NVIDIA. There we go. Let's see if you can, you guys still got the stream good. Just keep updating me here, folks, because YouTube keeps telling me that it is bad. The stream is bad, but if you're seeing everything pretty good, you hear me pretty good, then we'll keep going. I also seen questions about the GDX. So GDX, if we look at that, GDX is moving higher and not worried about it. It's a breakout. See, once you break above the highs and the RSI is not overbought yet in the daily, that's a breakout that you want to follow. So a lot of folks last week been saying, what about the 56? What about the 58 calls? And we said, hey, we'll get a watch out because the dollar went higher after the FOMC. Now it went down and we have a breakout to the upside. So all of these calls might be in the money by the end of the week. So definitely you want to double down the GDX and perhaps the SLV too. But I'm seeing that the GDX is working out better than SLV. So going to stick with the GDX here. I've seen a question about Alcoa before. And what do we do with Alcoa weekly chart? A little bit of a pullback with the dollar coming back. But hey, look, if the dollar begins to pull back, which if you look at the dollar right here, maybe if it breaks this line right here, we have a revisit to the lows. And if that is the case, that's going to be pretty good for Alcoa. And we will see the metals moving higher again. So we'll keep that in the portfolio too. I've seen a question on VLO. VLO, I don't want to break 130, 130. I think that's an important support. Of course, with oil going down, that's an important support because it is the 200 days moving average. So we don't want to go below that. If we go below, we have to cut the trade or cut the position as crude probably is correcting at that moment. But right now, looking at crude, it's not breaking its 200. So that's another confirmation. If crude breaks the 200 days moving average, you see VLO doing the same, then we got a problem. We have to reconsider the position. And you got to keep in mind also that you have the tankers, Sting, Scorpion, and that's doing pretty good. It looks like on the cusp for breaking out. So maybe you want to switch from VLO to STNG once you break below the 200 days moving average. But I have a hunch that VLO is a high quality name and it's going to rebound back up. Still holding. Okay, thank you so much for keeping me updated here. I think we got a question about HIMS too. Why is HIMS still up? 30% outstanding shares sold short. Yeah, it's the retail traders buying call options. Really, that's what's keeping it up. It's retail traders pushing the volume, so I'll show you right here. I haven't even looked at it this morning, but I know what's going on. You can see a big volume of calls outside of the money. So you see it right here, 16,000. You see it right here, 12,000, 12,800. So that's a big volume. And they're trading for the day. They're not trading really, they're not even holding. But you have the puts also. You have the 60 puts with a large volume. So that's going to balance it. But I think that the market maker accommodated that in the morning. The 60 puts, if we look at the HIMS right here, they went below the 60 puts, so they sold. That's already accommodated for. Then you see the volume here. They keep stampeding and buying calls at 60, at 65. And the market maker has to accommodate some of those. So they went all the way to 65 here, close to 65. And now they got to reassess and see which numbers they need to accommodate or let go of. It looks to me that the 60 puts are not budging. Right? It looks to me that the 60 puts are still holding. The calls are the ones that are shaky ground because the 65 is probably way outside of the money right now to be profitable. You have the 60. If these guys begin to capitulate, then you're probably going to head down back to 60. So I see a possibility here of a closing the gap, coming back down, failure here at a lower high, and then we head back to 60, if not below. Okay, so that's why HIMS is moving higher. It's just a squeeze based on daily basis. But there is no fundamental reason at all to hold the stock right now. Let's go back to the SPY, still holding. NVDA is still holding. So the stream, let's check on the stream. It is holding or not? I think it is holding. A little bit choppy. Okay, folks, this is not going to work out, at least not today. Yeah, we don't want people to be upset if you can't hear me. Okay. AMF, when building a core position incrementally, do you scale it based on the intervals, price action, or a combination of both? Thanks. So when you, let's say you're starting a position, I'm just going to give a random ticker here. If we look at, for example, let's see what's moving up, and you want to build a position in that particular name. Let's say that you have Intel. Somebody's looking for a value hunter, and you're looking for Intel to go higher. Maybe already bottomed and higher we go. You want to build a position right here. The first thing you want to do is, of course, once you buy, you have to set a stop loss. You have to look at this pattern right here and say, okay, what would be considered as a reversal from an hourly perspective, daily perspective. But since we just entered the position in this hypothetical example, it would be the lows of the day. So it'd be 1968. Immediately, that's going to be your stop loss, 1968. You have to set that stop loss because once you dip below, then you know that your theory in buying the stock is invalid. Now, how do we add to the position? We have to look at previous point of resistance when we've seen a failure. So here's one. We mark that right here. So the high is 21.29. And every time you close above a previous point of resistance, that's going to give you more validation to add more. That, okay, maybe Intel did bottom here, and it's going to head higher from this point on. And you keep adding another increment here. The other resistance, of course, is going to be closer to the gap. So if you close above the gap, so here it's going to be second increment. Here's going to be the third increment. And you keep adding this way, based on technical basis. Most of the time, at least this is how I do it. I look at the charts and just add based on what I see in the charts. Hard to add increments based on the mechanics or the options market. Hard to add based on the fundamentals because sometimes fundamentals are good, but the stock reacts in a different way. So we stick to the technicals and adding in increments. Let's go back to the SPY. 5 minutes, a little bit of weakness. Okay, we're back. It looks like we're good. Weird, to say the least. The stream is healthy now. Okay, thank you so much for that. Okay, let's do UNH. Or ISRG. How about we do that? CZ got ISRG October 510 calls. Is it worth keeping? Friend's mom has cancer removed by their surgical robots. Very impressed. It is an impressive company. Okay, it's an impressive company. Think about the AI deployment in this company right here. But you have the 510. I say you still got a chance of that playing out, but you got to be careful here if we break the lows right around here. So that's going to be 473.24. We'll mark that like this. Let's do a different line. The lows here would be 473.24. Exactly right. So if we close below, you probably don't want to stay in the trade. I know, I get it, that it is a promising company, but again, it ran way, way, way too high. Right, the opportunity was right here, where we got a cup and handle. Right now, we have sort of maybe an inverse cup and handle, so you have to be careful with that because you have already a lower high. Maybe you're looking for a lower low, right? So you got to be careful with this position. You know now when to cut it. 473.24. You close below, you got to let go. But for now, there's still a chance that it could rebound higher. Peter, I know you've been bearish UNH, but what's your view of Trump most favored nation pricing demand of pharmaceuticals? It's not going to help United Health a lot. Believe it or not, the pharmaceutical cost, the medicine cost is not really that big for them. What it could damage the big pharma names, of course. So you see AbbVie down about 4% today, NVO down. Pfizer is up. I don't know if that's going to hold or not. So it will impact the big pharma names tremendously if that is the case. Now we'll see, because politicians talk about that all the time. I've heard these promises all the way since the 90s, and it never happened. So we'll see. But right now, that's going to impact more for the big pharma names, not the insurance names. I think the problem with UNH is Medicare, Medicaid coverage. Those are going to be more of a problem for UNH. Right now, it's oversold. It could rebound, but folks, we cannot trust the rebounds. And there is a reason behind that, because this name is down big for the year. The rest of the market is still doing okay. If that dynamic continues and there's no big recovery, let's say before October, we're going to see tax harvesting. We're going to see the managers dumping UNH just to take the loss and reduce the tax bill for next year. So this is why I cannot go with UNH. If you must go with insurance names, maybe you want to consider Humana, because Humana got a better earnings report, and maybe their exposure to Medicaid is not that big. Don't forget about the lawsuits that UNH will have to deal with. Don't forget about all that stuff, the liabilities, regulations. But here in Humana, maybe you have a possibility of sort of a falling wedge that you can play a breakout from. So between the two, if I must pick, I would go with Humana. Cigna is another one, but Cigna is still not immune, and honestly, it has a sort of a topping head and shoulder pattern, so I would not buy it right now. I see the opportunity maybe in Humana, because that report was okay. If you look at the latest report, we got it right here. It was a beat, and I looked at it, it was pretty good. So Humana over UNH. For sure. SPY, it looks to me in the 5 minutes, maybe we're doing somewhat of a bear flag. We might break to the downside. Again, you got to take these lows to have that confirmation. The stream is still okay, so let's proceed here. GoDaddy, Mehmet. What's your suggestion with GoDaddy? You have short. I have it too. Stock is oversold before earnings. Better to sell covered puts on it or hold? How better to play this moment? Okay, so if you want to hedge, I got a short in GoDaddy too. And again, my 2 cents is probably the name. I don't know why I have the Bollinger, the Fibonacci rather. Goodbye. There we go. Look at the weekly chart, and we have topping head and shoulder. That's your shoulder, your head, your higher shoulder. You're breaking the neckline right now, so it's not a good looking chart at all. It says that you probably want to stick being short, and you probably don't want to sell covered puts, because what if it flushes down after this report? What you want to do is maybe hedge via calls. So let's say you're up in the position. What number, if we trade above or gap above in a big way, would make this position a losing position for you? So the way I would do it is GoDaddy, and we're just going to buy a hedge on it. That will be the calls, obviously. And we go to this week. Let's say it is the 170. That's the one. Or the 165. That's the number they're going to settle in. You just buy these calls, and if we trade above, now you have the right to buy these shares back at 165 and cover you short. So that's the way I hedge on it. But right now, honestly, the chart is supportive of more downside to come. It is a little bit oversold in the daily and the shorter time frames, but that doesn't mean that it cannot go down further. The other thing is, let's say we have a mediocre oversold rebound on a bad report. Let's say we go 165, 163. For me, that's going to be another opportunity to double down on the position. Okay, the SPY beginning to lose a little bit of steam here. NVIDIA is the one that's leading the action to the downside. Negative flows, what are you going to do? Jeff, thoughts on shorting the IWM today? You got to check on the 2-year, which if we don't see a big movement, I don't know what the hell is going on with the internet today. But a little bit of a rebound, but that's to me an oversold rebound outside of the Bollinger Bands. So the IWM just doesn't make the best case for a short. I think you're better off going with the SPY and the Qs because we're more likely to see hedging from the money managers because of seasonality. So that's going to impact the big names, the biggest winners, and that's going to impact the SPY and the Qs. I think that's better than the IWM right now. If we see the 2-year yield reversing back up, okay, gotcha. But right now it looks just like an oversold rebound in the 2-year yield for me. And that makes that SPY and Qs better opportunity than the IWM. What about NVO? Will it drop more after the earnings report? So we got NVO, and again, I've been cautioning, you got to be careful with this guy because you got a report today. Let's see. Got a report today. It should have already reported. So this one was overseas, I guess, the report. Let's see the Swiss NVO. Novo. There we go. Or the Danish, rather. Yeah, I'm not getting the ticker. Okay, let's stick to what we got here in the NYC. Any opportunity to buy it? I don't think so. If you want to buy, as I said, maybe Eli Lilly. We've seen bullish trades on Eli Lilly before the report came out. And that's going to come out Thursday, so this week. Again, I'd rather go with Eli Lilly. Yes, there is a case that I could present to you in the video tonight that we're seeing more prescriptions of Wegovy versus Zepbound, but that's not going to fix it right now. I think that Eli Lilly is still ahead, and the change in prescriptions right now is just a temporary thing that could benefit NVO, but I wouldn't bet on it. I would stick to Eli Lilly if you want to play that game of the weight loss. SPY, let's go back 5 minutes. There we go. PLTR decided to go with the 175 puts at 174. When better to open the spread on it? And why do you decide to go way out of the money in this case? 165 when the difference of premium is about 3, but move is 10. It's a lotto, okay? It's a lotto ticket. That's why we're doing it. And Palantir beginning to get a little bit softer here. So let's see what the premiums look like. So Palantir 165 puts is now worth about $2. So we're up in the position, but let's see if we can sell the 160 and collect a premium. 160 right now, trading at about $1. So a little bit more. I just need a little bit more in Palantir to go below 170, and then we can do the trade that I'm intending to do, which is opening the spread, getting paid for the trade, and then I don't care. I have a $5 delta between 165 and 160. If it decides to go down by the end of the week, great. If it doesn't, I got paid for the trade. That's the aim right now. But if you did the 175, you're just a little bit more conservative than I am. You have a more conservative of a trade, and you're not going to be able to do the paid for the trade kind of thing. Because when you sell the 175, when you buy 175, you need to sell the 170. And when you buy the 175 to begin with, it has a higher premium that even if the stock goes down, the 170 is not going to give you that premium back. Maybe it'll give you 80%, 70%, that's good enough. But it might not give you 100% or more. But if you go outside of the money, it might do that. So that's the idea behind it, that it's a lotto, so we took the shot that way. But now, if you see Palantir going down, think about opening the 170, excuse me. Got the 175 puts. Think about opening the 170 on it. Maybe you'll if you can reduce your entry cost to about $1, $1.50, you'll make pretty good profits right now. Small, next time, please look at the newest comments first before the you Terminator, because at the end, it was good already. Uh, I think the issue is because I'm recording at the same time. I'm recording the stream at the same time so I can do the highlights for you. Maybe that slowed it down a little bit. Usually it doesn't, but hey, you never know. So I think that's the issue right here. Hey, Mav, how do you plan to manage USAR before earnings? You want to set a stop loss. In this case, puts are not going to really work hard that much. So you want to set a stop loss. And I would say again, if we break the pattern of higher highs and higher lows, especially the higher lows, that's going to be a problem for me. So I would set a stop loss at 11. But let's say that you entered the position at 12. Maybe that's going to be your stop loss because you don't want to go down to 11 and take that loss. So look at your entry price of the trade and have a stop loss on it. But I think that this is probably going to be pretty good because this is a company that we don't expect earnings from, but we expect what their outlook is going to be based on investment by the government or demand on mining down the road. And all what they have to do is just do some sweet talking. And that's going to do the job in popping the stock higher. So again, just set a stop loss at your entry price. And if we go down below, then no harm done. But if we pop, we're good to go. We're probably going to add more to that position. How about wheat? Wheat needs the dollar to go down a little bit more. I mean, it's breaking the lows. Look, I understand if some of you want to free up some capital, if this is not working out for you, let's say you bought it right here, and now you're seeing a lower low. I understand if you want to exit. If you want to free up some capital to buy something else, I think that's the right move that you should do, especially if you have a smaller account. But if this is just one position that you got and you're willing to be patient in it, then I would say that you stick with it, and I'm sticking with it. I think wheat's going to play out. I'm looking at the dynamics of the crops. I'm looking at the dynamics of the dollar, and I think that wheat's going to play out pretty good, just like palladium did. Palladium was a little bit stiff. Didn't work out until it did, right? So we have to be a little bit patient here. But again, if you have an account and you see other opportunities going on, there's no need to be stuck here and waiting for it to happen because this is more of a longer dated kind of play. This is more 26, 27 kind of play. Okay, 5 minutes chart, a little bit of weakness, but not breaking below the lows of the day. Lee, HTHT not looking great. You're thinking of cutting at 30. Yeah, if it goes below 30, then we're out because it wouldn't make sense at all. Right now, you look at the daily chart, no breakout from this wedge, at least not right now. And let's see if we can rebound out of 30. But I have my stop loss here because it is oversold. It should be able to rebound, especially if the dollar goes down. But if we break 30, then I just don't need to have it anymore. We're just going to stick to what we got in the Chinese names, Alibaba. I think that Baidu is really promising. All of these robotaxi partnerships, not showing any fruit in the stock right now, but I think down the road it's gonna. So we'll stick with them right now, but HTHT is 30. We break below, I'm out of the trade right away. The SPY, and then you got NVIDIA, a little bit of weakness. Okay, what about SNDX? What is the target here? You got your report yesterday. We got a pop today. A little bit of higher volume, mostly on the selling side, I would assume, but it's still holding pretty good. Look, if this was a trade for you, just you wanted to trade, you made big bucks out of it, it's time to book some profits right here, at least some. Because you have the gap, that's the target right here. Closing this gap, that's the target. And we're pretty much really close. The lows here were 1351. Highs of the day was about 13. So we're getting really close to closing that gap. If you're happy with the gains that you got so far, I would suggest that you book it. If you think there is more, there's probably more if we look at the weekly chart. We're probably going to head higher, I would say maybe the 16, but that's going to happen in time. You have really, really strong resistance right at this reaction around 14. And then we could head to 16. So if you want to hold it, I would say the report gave you validation to hold it. But if this is a trade for you, this is a good time right here to book some profits on it. Let's go to Stone. You see the bazooka trade. Could you review the ES bazooka if we trigger at 6,240? So if we look at the E-mini futures, let's zoom into the 2 hours. We're below 6,350. So we have that lower high. Now, if we do break 6,240, and let's say the RSI is not oversold, because if it is oversold, you might see a rebound, and that could screw any bazooka trade you can make. The idea here is we consolidate a little bit for a few days just to allow this RSI to stay afloat. And then once we break below this number, if the RSI is still not oversold in the 2 hours, yeah, I would go with the 6,000 puts naked, and I would probably bet big on the 6,000 puts. And it's probably going to be either September or October expiration at that point. It's looking pretty good right now. It's looking like we're heading that way. So the trade right now, to be honest, if you want to do a trade on the E-mini futures, you're probably going to do what we talked about. Let's say if we go to August 15th, change it to the puts, you probably want to do the 6,300. Let's see, 6,300, and then sell the 6,250. That's going to be about 680 to make $1,800. Chance of profit of 40%. So that would be a trade that I would enter if you must play the zone between 6,350 and 6,240. But the bazooka is going to happen after we break these lows, because that's going to happen with a VIX moving higher. More folks are going to be now triggered to book profits or hit the stop loss they got. So that could lead to acceleration of the selling all the way down to 6,000. And then look at the chart right here. You got no support, right? There's not a lot of support between these two numbers. It was just a big, rapid move higher with little support, just a little bit of reactions right here, but no solid support. And that leads me to think that if we break 6,240, we're probably going to flush down big to 6,000 quickly, just as fast as we've done the move higher from 6,000 to 6,240. That's the idea. Going back to the SPY, folks, here we go. We're losing a little bit of steam now with challenging the lows of the day. So we have a lower high within an intraday session. If we break the lows here, we're probably going to hit further to the downside, closer to the targets that we talked about in the morning brief. We talked about SNDX, 28% today. If you want to book profits at this point, I would say just do it. It's a good day to book profits. 2 cents on Palladium, opportunity to add or what? I would say opportunity to add once you break the lows in the Dixie. So here's the daily chart. Let's say we break the lows right here that we formed. Yes, I would say it's a good time to add. But right now, I still see the risk of an ABC move higher. That's what's keeping me from doing anything about it or adding in Palladium right now. But if we break the lows, that's your permission to go big and begin to add. If you don't have exposure to metals, you probably want to add to that. But right now, stick with the GDX. If you're betting on the metals, stick with the GDX or the GLD. Because gold has the luxury of being not just a defensive, but also a dollar play. So in times you could see the dollar going higher, but gold holds pretty good because of that defensive mechanism that is built on gold. No one. Are you thinking the market will spike on AMD earnings? AMD is too small. Look at the weight, right? AMD's, you can't even see it. It's a tiny, tiny component. It could crash by 10%. It could rally by 10%. It wouldn't make a difference. So AMD is too small to even think about it that way. IQGA sold it this morning before the pullback. Is there a better entry? What is your hunch on this one? Okay, so let's do this here. LQDA. You say that you entered today and before the pullback you got out. Well, this is an earnings bet, right? Somebody's betting that something is coming out Thursday. A good piece of news. Either you agree, disagree. Now, this is a biotech company, so it could be a piece of news that leads to a crash in the stock. The bottom line is they're expecting a big move out of it. So this is not something that if you want to follow these kind of trades, you're not going to buy them and then try to trade them and exit before the report comes out. Because the whole point is to hold all the way till the report. So here, either you trust the trader who entered this trade and just follow verbatim, or you want to be cute and get the memo from it and try to do something such as a strangle trade, where you buy out of the money calls, out of the money puts, see which one works out by the report. Otherwise, no need for the headache. But if you're neutral about it, you don't have a dog in the fight, maybe you just leave it alone at this point. What I did on PLTR, you bought the 175 puts for 435. Now sold the once. Good for you. Good for you. Yeah. There we go. It looks like a risk-free 5. Good for you. You did exactly what I wanted you to do. I'm proud of you, my friend. That's exactly what you should do. So now you have $5 for free. But even if Palantir goes down to 165 or 162, it's going to expire. They're going to exercise your 175 puts and the 170 puts that you sold, and you get the $5 at the end of the day. And you got it for free. That's the idea. I can also do mine for free here, folks. If I sell the 160, let's do that. So we're going to do it right here and sell it for 1.3. And again, you get paid for the trade. Why not? QBT. Thank you, Jeff, for reminding me because I was missing something here. It's QUBT. You say government contract, received the government contract will keep momentum till September. The problem with this name right here is, at least from a technical perspective, I can't tell you about the fundamentals because it's probably way overvalued either way. But there is a problem with the pattern that I see here. Double top, right? Lower highs, lower lows, problematic. But you take a longer horizon, could be cup and handle pattern. So here, if you think that this is a company that's going to receive government contracts, and there is more bids and demands for it, maybe you have some insider sources that I'm not aware of. You probably want to buy some shares and hold on to them. Just set a stop loss. Maybe your stop loss would be at 14. I think 14 is the best stop loss at the moment. And keep those shares. If you want to do calls, then do the calls. And you're going to stick with the same stop loss. If QBT goes down below 14, you just cut the calls and get out. But you probably want longer expiration dates in the calls. So the stock's trading at $16. Might as well just buy the shares. That's at least what I would do. Just buy the shares and hold on to them. I've seen Rigetti also doing pretty good yesterday. Similar pattern, cup and handle, right? So all of quantum, be honest with you, I think that this theme is underappreciated right now. But the more we think about it, the more we think about AI and the chips and the software element of it being really, really overbought and really overvalued, a lot of folks are going to begin to think about the quantum element in AI adoption. And you're going to see a lot of these names, at least one of them will be a winner. Whoever wins a big contract from Oracle or from one of the big companies or the government will be the winner. Okay, so that's your question here. Let's go back to the SPY. Looks like we're going to break the lows. We'll see if that happens. Could happen live. Let's go to Discord. Yeah, listen, they got to hire Sydney Sweeney. That's the only thing that we can do here with UNH. Hey, Mav, I hope you had an awesome weekend. I would like to start building a stake in coffee. Living with a coffee addict, what are the options possible for entry point? What is your play? So if you can get access to coffee futures, which not a lot of brokers will give you access to it, by the way, because it's kind of harder to get in the exchange. But if you can get access to coffee futures, just trade the futures right here. Especially if it closes above 300, you probably want to buy it. It's really hard to play a proxy, maybe Starbucks, because they have exposure to coffee farms. And if we see prices of coffee going higher, it might benefit Starbucks. But it has a lot of problems, cost problems that we talked about in the earnings review video. So the other play that you can do is just short something that depends on coffee prices going down. That would be Smucker. So you short Smucker, basically. But besides that, unfortunately, not a lot of plays that we can do with coffee futures if you don't have access to them. Okay, the SPY. Waiting for that breakout. Mav, thank you for the PLTR idea. Fun ride. Hey, if you get, look, the Mehmet got paid for it. So if you get paid for it, we're good to go. Small, you've done a 165 calendar call spread. You sold here, let's see, you sold and you bought the 15. So you're bullish PLTR. And you did that today. I would sell a call. I would sell a call spread, to be honest with you, because Palantir, I know it has mechanical momentum, but it's also, if you look at PLTR here, I mean, the technicals are way, way overbought. Somebody's going to begin to book profits. When you see these kind of gaps ups, you will see pullbacks. It could be bought after that. We're not saying it's the top or anything, but we're saying that it's in your interest probably to sell call credit spreads, or you do a play like I did in the morning. Okay, we're lagging again. Do you see any longer opportunities today? Energy still cautious. Yeah. Got to be careful with energy because we got the 200 days moving average in crude and we have the dollar. So hold your horses in energy. What you want to think about is utilities. Utilities, I mean, I'm looking at Duke today. Duke is pretty good. So let's say that if this guy pulls back, you probably want to buy it because it produced a really good report. So Duke Energy is a winner. And I would buy the pullbacks. But right now, hold your horses in energy. Folks, something is going on today with the connections. So we're going to have to wrap it up here and settle to what we achieved so far. What we could have achieved anyways. No one can't. Got a trade going on it. What are your thoughts? What's your trade here? Puts or calls? Got Caterpillar. Got to be careful of being too bearish in Caterpillar, though. Yeah, if you have puts on it, I would say, unless they're August 15th or beyond and above 420 at or above 420 puts, you probably don't want to keep it because Caterpillar has a bid underneath. And see, it's doing pretty good right now, especially if the dollar goes down, by the way. If the dollar goes down, Caterpillar is going to be a solid play. Now, I'd rather, if you go back to the question of, is there a solid idea for a long? Yeah, there is. It's Deere. That's the one I'm looking at. Deere is one that I'm considering. You can see the bull flag pattern right here. And if the dollar goes down again, demand for Deere equipment is going to go higher. So DE is one idea. Martin Marietta was pretty good yesterday. So MLM, we talked about this before, the inverse cup and handle, or inverse head and shoulder rather. A lot of folks are not paying attention to these kind of names. But if they break above the triple top that we see here in MLM or even in Vulcan, the ticker is VMC. Let's do this. VMC. Either or, whatever name you want to pick, they'll have the same look, the technical look. You have the inverse on the shoulder here. But Deere, VMC, MLM, if the dollar goes down, I think these are names that are not appreciated right now, but they offer the opportunity for entering along. Anyhow, folks, look, the stream is not looking pretty good. So let's just wrap it up right here, folks. You know what to do here. If we break the lows of the day, it's going to be because of NVIDIA. And that means that NVIDIA probably going to head down to 174, 173. If that is the case, you're probably going to see the SPY heading closer, I would say 625. If NVIDIA goes down to 173, 174, I think that 625 could be a number that we're going to revisit in the SPY today. So we're just going to wrap it up right here, folks. Given the circumstances today, apologies again. I am not sure what the issue is, but hopefully in tomorrow's session, we're not going to encounter any of these problems. Let's do Henrik. Thanks for the mega shows. I have questions about option strat. You use the filters, high, unusual, and YOLO. What is the best way to recognize insider trades? I still find it hard to recognize this. Greetings from Germany. Thank you so much. So when we look at the flows right here, so I hope that you guys are seeing this. Right, this is option strat. How do you recognize that it is an insider trade? I mean, you can do out of the money and the volume bigger than the OI. You want to look at shorter dated expirations because anything 26 and beyond, that's probably positioning, not insider trades. You want to look at minimum trades that are significant. So maybe 300, 250, that's significant. And then you want to look at specifically tickers that are not usually traded. You don't see these tickers traded usually. Like Tesla, for example, we see it traded all the time. Palantir, we see it all the time. So in Tesla, you're not going to spot a lot of insider trades here. In Palantir, you're probably not going to do the same. But if you see a ticker that we usually don't see in this chart right here, maybe Pan American Silver, right? That's probably kind of an insider trade. 30 calls for PAAS. Something you want to consider, looking at names that are not usually traded. Now, insider trades or names that are traded usually, such as Tesla, Meta, Google, they require way, way bigger premiums, above 1 million, sometimes above 2 million, for them to be considered as an insider trade. But this is what we look at. So Redwire, another weird kind of trade, right? You want to look at the buy side too. That will give you a better degree of confidence when they buy versus sell. Here's another one that could be suspect. So you can play with it here and find tickers that we don't usually find. That's going to be your indicator that we have an insider trade on them. Okay, the SPY, here we go. Maybe we're breaking below the lows before we say goodbye. But folks, again, I apologize. I don't know what the problem is, so I apologize for the frustration that he had to deal with earlier. But hopefully we covered at least most of the questions and the comments that we got. And we'll be back again. We'll be back again for the chat session in about half an hour. Let's do small here before we go. The Eternal Carvana, please. Big short and different option credit spreads and leaps, naked calls. Gotcha. We want to avoid closing the trade too early. So look, what I'm seeing right now in the market dynamics is the VIX is moving higher. It looks to me that we're beginning to see some of that seasonality playing out. So my 2 cents would say that Carvana is probably going to be weaker and sell out even more. I have 337.55 as my support. I think we might find some short-term support. But if we break below that number, I want you to stick with the trades. You don't want to close them too early. Because I think you got really good trades. You sold calls naked, out of the money, and you sold them for longer expiration dates. And I think all of the speculative mania, the Palantirs of the world, all the speculative retail stuff will get really crushed in August, September. And among them will be Carvana. So you're going to see your trades even more profitable than they are right now. Anyhow, SPY. Last look. 5 minutes. Let's see if we took the lows or not. Nah, not yet. Not yet. But anyhow, folks, let's wrap it up right here, and we will be back. The discount for option strat is in the description. The bar chart is coming. Okay, bar chart is probably coming this week, but option strat, we already have a discount code for you in the description of all of the videos.